There we go. Right?
Yep.
So we have our roll call. Burrows,
Yes.
Laughlin,
Yes.
Moreno, Shield,
Yes.
Vargas.
Yes.
Right, we have a quorum.
All right, can I get a motion to approve the agenda, please?
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
And a second? I'll second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Carries. Communications and visitors. This is the time when community members can make public comments to the board. Please be aware that the board cannot comment on anything that is said during this time. This is the only time the agenda reserved for open public comment. Please limit comments to 4 minutes. Anybody? All right, cool. Moving on to central administration.
All right, we have no fundraising requests and no overnight trips to be approved. But we do have change order number 4 for the athletic complex project. We recommend to approve the change order for a total credit to the project of $22,294.50. This change order includes omitted scopes, additional LF curb reduction, LF slot reduction in SF asphalt, deduct of $12,807, a credit for incorrect strength of concrete foundations for concession stand of $15,000, add concrete sidewalks for bleachers, $568, increase softball batting cage slab for $4,446, sorry. Increase in scope for staking of bleacher foundations for $3,977.50 and removing change order 003 for unneeded field elevation changes of $3,479.
Questions, comments, concerns about that? That's a lot of detail, but I guess maybe the one call out I would like to kind of bring light to is the incorrect strength of concrete foundation for the concession stand. It was just, we would have gone commercial strength for the PSI of the strength of the concrete, if I'm understanding correctly, 5,000 PSI. It ended up
500. So
at like 3,500.
yeah, so what FEH called for in the commercial strength foundation for that building, it's a 1-story concession stand. They called for 4,500 PSI. The concrete came in, Terracom did their testing, it came in at 3,860 PSI. So then the question came, is that acceptable, not acceptable, etc. So reached out to All American, asked them their thoughts on it, reached out to Knutson, asked them their thoughts, and then also reached out to FEH and asked them their thoughts. FEH, basically all of them indicated in one way or another that they felt it would be adequate. They gave an example of homes. I think the recommended PSI for homes, and don't quote me on this number, but I think they said it was like around 3,000 PSI. And that could be a 2-story home or whatever. And I was told a lot of times they don't even test for homes, they'll pour the slab and just build the home. So they felt this was, the 4,500 was probably overkill. This was a commercial grade that they used. And this is just a regular framed 1-story building. FEH said they still had to recommend the 4,500 just because that is what their engineers called for in the commercial grade that they use for this project. But they, so yeah, I just have to look at that. But again, All American felt that would be plenty for what's the weight and what that's being used for. So they gave us a credit just because it didn't meet the scope, and they're also still going to warranty it and treat it as though it were built with the 4,500 commercial specs that it was followed.
With that, I will entertain a motion to approve change order number 4.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Carries. Resolution supporting the intent to interfund loan from the general fund to the safe fund. It is the board's intention to interfund loan from the general fund to the save fund not to exceed $1 million. The district will repay the general fund once funds become available, but not later than October 1st, 2024, at the current ISJIT interest rate of 5%. Basically, the intention behind this, if I understand Abby's email correctly, she's a lot smarter than I, but basically, this allows us not to have to raise taxes, pull a bond, any of those kind of traditional loan mechanisms. And we're just borrowing from one pot to another, and then we'll repay it as the money comes available. So pretty standard stuff.
That's a very good summary of that, correct?
Any other thoughts, questions, concerns? Nope. Okay, I need a motion and a second, please.
I'll make a motion to approve.
And a second.
I'll second it.
And this one's a roll call vote.
Burrows,
Yes.
Laughlin,
Yes.
Shield,
Yes.
and Vargas.
Yes.
Awesome. Carries. Superintendent report, Sean.
So just a couple updates here. ELC Elementary, we have construction meeting tomorrow. And the hope is there, and we're planning on having MPH complete a punch list for the remodel of the elementary, so that'll be that new kindergarten wing. Hopefully Tyler can get in there FEH and get that completed tomorrow, so that we know where we stand on that particular wing. And then if we have the okay to move in, or if there's a couple items maybe that they have to take care of before we move in, then we'll know, and we can get more of a firm date set on actually moving material supplies and everything else into those classrooms. So hopefully, if all goes well, we could be, moving into those by the end of the weekend, and get those set up.
Are you gonna email? I mean, are we gonna know about it? Like, if it does get approved, are you gonna tell us the move-in date and everything? Or?
Yeah, we'll get that out. Yeah, absolutely. And Kirk and Jeremiah will be there. I'll be at school administrators bio conference tomorrow, but they will be there working with Tyler and
We'll get the word out.
construction. Yep. And then once they get things finalized, then we will relay that information. Correct. Also in that new area and in that area, they're completing the finishing touches. Things such as just installing a hallway floor. So down the new wing, the 4-year-old wing. I was just in there today, and they're putting pouring vinyl tile down. They're finishing some of that duct work. They're doing some painting touch-ups. I think they caulk around the windowsills, getting some of the general plumbing up and running, installing, getting fire alarm systems completely, the upgrades of that completely installed and up and running, finalizing boiler system work, etc. So just a lot of things that are very close to being completed, that they're in now working and just trying to put the final finishing touches on. So with any luck, we'll find out more tomorrow too on that new area on the 4-year-old wing, just how much more time they feel they will need to complete that. With very optimistic good news, we'll be able to move in soon and be able to start there. That is the goal. It always has been a goal. But just don't know at this point, and we hopefully will know a lot more by the end of the day tomorrow, on the 4-year-olds and where we'll be starting with them. Any questions on that? Okay, then the athletic complex, as you can see, that was pretty visual, pretty easy to see the progress going on out there. The concession stand and ticket booth are both near completion of the framing. There was an issue, so back to the concrete, there was an issue with the ticket booth concrete as well. So I just talked with Knutson today. I believe the plan would be to redo that concrete. It came in a little lower than what we feel would be acceptable. So they have it framed. I think the goal would be they could move that frame, since it's a small building. So we can just take the existing frame, move it, and then replace the concrete. Again, I should know for sure on how they're going to approach that here in the next 2 days. The groundwork for the turf is almost completed, so they brought in the finer rock, the top grade of rock, and so they've been leveling that. Hopefully it'll be done with that by Wednesday or Thursday, start on the turf. On the football field, then the ground crew will move over to the baseball field and softball field to then get those prepped as well. Very similar to work that they've done on the football field. Also, the visitor bleacher pad should get poured this week. Visitor bleachers will be moved over from the existing field towards the end of the project. So they may or may not be there if we are able to be out on the football field this year. That's a big if. They're still projecting September 8th, although I'm guessing our next meeting that could get pushed back just because of some of the groundwork delays, some of the rain, etc. But we plan on having those bleachers moved over to the current visitor bleachers that we have are in very good shape, so we'll just reuse those and have a company come over and move those over to the pad. Luckily, it's very tight over there, and there's an issue, we're concerned about how tight the football field track and all that is going to sit to that drainage ditch, but they were able to make it work to where we could have just enough feet of pad of concrete to allow for us to move over the existing visitor bleachers that we have. So it's working out.
Yeah,
It just might not get done until the end of the season, or one of the last things that we want. Any questions on the complex?
Nope.
Good. SAI conference, school administrators of Iowa last week. It's a 3-day conference. They have an annual conference. It's for all the administrators in Iowa. So there's approximately 1,800 administrators from across the state from pretty much all the different districts. And they put on a nice conference. They have keynote speakers come in, talk about some of the current things going on in education and business, and then have several breakout sessions as well. So it's nice to be able to collaborate, network, share, run ideas by fellow Iowans across the state, other administrators from other districts, as well as here. We bring in national speakers and hear from them. So very, very good conference. Library books, I'm guessing you've maybe heard a little bit about that in the news or in the media with the legislation coming out with the very strict guidelines on having to follow Iowa Code 702.17. Districts are trying to interpret exactly what that means. And if maybe if you just take a quick glance at that, it seems pretty self-explanatory, but then there's always the gray area in which we operate, and then the interpretation of, does this fit that? And so librarians, districts across the state are trying to figure out, what does this mean? And the Department of Ed has been asked, every webinar I've been in, the Department of Ed, Iowa Association of School Board Attorneys, no one has real good guidance other than follow 702.17. So lots left for interpretation, and just trying to figure out and navigate what that's going to mean and what that's going to look like. There's one district that you've probably seen out in the news that I think came up with a list of around 374 books. I don't know where they came up with that list, how they vetted that list. I don't think that's going to be a universal list. Again, I think all 327 districts are trying to figure out, what does this mean? What's this going to look like for us? So unfortunately, everybody's kind of having to create the wheel on their own. I'm sure, there's some collaboration between nurses librarians across the state, librarians collaborating to try to figure out what this looks like. And so I know Janet Smith, our librarian, is working on that as well. There's probably some obvious literature on the shelves that clearly fit that definition. I don't know how many books that is. That's 3, 5, 10, 20, whatever that is. Then you start getting from there, those are the easy ones to remove. And then you get into, like I just mentioned, gray area, these fit or not. So I guess the good thing is we have until January 24 to figure this out. Then after that, if we're not meeting the guidelines and following the new legislature, there could be some pretty stiff penalties for either for districts, individuals, etc. Then as far as what we do with those books, that's still, again, I really haven't been given much guidance if we just box them, put them away for now, if we lend them to the local library, public library, maybe just let them have them or use them. So we will be working on that just to figure out how to navigate through all of this. That was a lot there. Any questions? Okay. Moving on to some fun stuff, some accommodations. Say congratulations to Blaze Moss for participating in the wildlife production and management competition program, and then Morgan Hodge, who participated in the outdoor recreation program, as they are National Proficiency Award finalists, and they're in the top 4 in the United States. So they will be interviewed this fall at the national competition in Indianapolis. So pretty impressive, very impressive, outstanding. Congratulations to the 2 of those, and best luck to Blaze and Morgan this fall as they go to the national competition. Then a big thank you to our summer custodians, Jeremiah Smith, Brian Smith, for just all the work they do in cleaning the buildings, getting everything prepped and ready for this coming school year. And there's gonna be a lot of scrambling here with the ELC 4-year-olds in pre-K, but I know they'll work hard and they'll get it done. Also, a big thank you to community members who donated or purchased items for our new teachers from Spain and those who helped move furniture and household items in their new homes. And that's greatly appreciated. And then last, the elementary admin just wants to give a big shout out to the summer school teachers for making Comet Camp a great time for the kids this summer. And then very last thing, just something I want to throw out there and have you thinking about with the completion of our 2 capital projects. Once we get the athletic complex done, and then we get remodel and ELC done, we'll need to figure out what we're going to do with the existing properties that we own. And so I think it would be wise of us to schedule a time here in the near future, probably bring in the attorney, having a closed session, just to talk about how we want to handle that real estate and how the board wants to move forward as how we want as a district with those properties. So if you guys are in favor of that, or I don't think it's a motion or anything, but just let me know. I can line something up with our attorney, and then we'll have a closed session to discuss that.
Sure.
Yeah, I think that's a
Yeah,
good
I
idea.
think that's a good idea.
Once I get a hold of the attorney, then I'll send out and get you some dates from him. I'll let you know some dates and times.
Good.
Thanks. All right, that is everything.
All right, thank you very much. The next item is personnel, new hires. Alejandro for paraprofessional, Jordan Thurnis for paraprofessional, Aubrey Hager as special ed teacher in the elementary, Tim Foley, co-head cross-country coach, Brittany Buffelli, 7th grade volleyball coach, Ruben Galvan, 8th grade volleyball coach, Jeff Laughlin, varsity head girls basketball coach, Meeker Patrick, lead nutrition employee, Edgar Velasquez Mateus, night custodian, Logan Klotz, high school special education para, and then the summer school teachers. There's a lot of them, so we're gonna skip that. Y'all can read them. Any questions, comments, concerns, or anything needing discussed?
No.
All right, I will entertain a motion to approve the personnel.
Make a motion to approve.
In a second,
I'll second it.
all in favor, say aye.
Alright.
Aye. Carries and Jack abstains. And future agenda items, next board meeting, Monday, August 21st is at 5 p.m., not 6 p.m. So we had to move that up so that we can all enjoy the back to school night for the schools. And then we'll have the consent agenda, review of facility usage fees, and we'll see if maybe we have that closed session with the lawyer if we can get it done that quickly, but we'll see. Anything else you ever need added, just let us know and we'll get it on there. So with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
And a second,
I'll second that.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, carries. We are adjourned at 6:20.